Teachers, what student situation made you break protocol and potentially lose your job? I found the bruises on Thursday morning during mandatory health screenings. Liam Crawford was 14 years old, honor roll student, never caused problems in my chemistry class. When he pulled up his sleeve for the blood pressure cuff, I saw 5 distinct finger marks wrapped around his bicep in purple and yellow. He jerked his arm away and pulled the sleeve down fast, but I'd already seen them. I asked him to stay after the screening while other students filed out. He stood there with his backpack clutched against his chest and wouldn't meet my eyes. I asked him directly what happened to his arm. He said he fell during basketball practice. I'd been teaching for 12 years and knew what grab marks looked like versus impact bruises. I told him I was required to report injuries that suggested abuse. His face went white and he started shaking his head. He begged me not to say anything, said it would make everything worse, said his father would kill him if anyone found out. That last phrase hung in the air between us. I told him I didn't have a choice. State law required teachers to report suspected abuse within 24 hours. Liam's eyes filled with tears, and he said his father was Detective Frank Crawford of the County Sheriff's Department. That reporting it wouldn't matter because his father's friends would bury it. That he'd tried telling a counselor at his old school and his father found out and broke his ribs. I called Child Protective Services that afternoon and filed a formal report. The caseworker asked if I had photos of the bruises. I said no. The student had covered them before I could document anything. She asked if the student had disclosed abuse. I explained he'd denied it initially, but then revealed his father was a police detective and had hurt him before. The caseworker was silent for a moment. Then she said Detective Crawford was well known in the county and that previous reports against him had been investigated and found unsubstantiated. She'd add my report to his file, but warned me that without physical evidence or a disclosure from the child, there wasn't much they could do. She also mentioned that making false reports against law enforcement could result in legal consequences for me. I said I understood and hung up. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing Liam's terrified face when he said his father would kill him, the casual way he described having his ribs broken, the resignation in his voice when he said reporting wouldn't matter. I'd done everything by the book and it felt completely inadequate. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling wondering if I just made things worse for him. Friday morning, Liam wasn't in class. I checked with the attendance office and they said he was marked absent with no call from parents. I tried not to panic. Maybe he had a regular appointment or was sick, but my instincts screamed that something was wrong. During my planning period, I drove past his house. Everything looked normal from outside. I felt foolish sitting there in my car, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd put that kid in danger by following protocol. I went back to school and taught my afternoon classes on autopilot. My mind kept wandering to Liam. At 3:15, I got called to the principal's office. Principal Denise Hartwell sat behind her desk with a man I didn't recognize. He was in his 40s, wearing jeans and a polo shirt with a police badge clipped to his belt. Denise introduced him as Detective Frank Crawford. My stomach dropped. He stood and shook my hand with a grip that was just slightly too firm. He said he wanted to thank me personally for my concern about his son, that Liam had explained the misunderstanding about the bruises from basketball practice. He said he appreciated teachers who looked out for student welfare, but wanted to reassure me that his son was fine and well cared for. Detective Crawford's smile didn't reach his eyes. He said he understood I'd filed a report with CPS, and that was my right as a mandated reporter. But he wanted me to know that false allegations against law enforcement officers were taken very seriously, that his reputation and career could be damaged by unfounded accusations. The threat was clear even though his tone stayed pleasant and professional. Denise jumped in to say she was confident this was just an unfortunate miscommunication and that everyone wanted what was best for Liam. Detective Crawford thanked us both and left. As soon as the door closed, Denise turned to me with a tight expression. She said I needed to be very careful about making accusations I couldn't prove, that Detective Crawford was connected throughout the county and could make life difficult for the school if he felt we were targeting his family. I asked if she was telling me not to report suspected abuse. She said of course not, but that I needed to have solid evidence before involving CPS. I left her office feeling sick and angry. I went home that evening and searched online for information about Detective Crawford. His service record was exemplary, nothing that suggested he was capable of hurting his own son. Liam came back to school Monday. He had a black eye and a split lip. When I asked what happened, he said he got hit during basketball practice. I pulled him aside after class and told him I knew his father had done this, that I wanted to help him but needed him to tell me the truth. Liam stared at the floor and said nothing happened, that he was clumsy and accident prone, that his father loved him and provided everything he needed. I asked if his father had told him what to say. Liam looked at me with dead eyes and said he needed to get to his next class. I watched him walk away and felt completely helpless. That night, I did something I'd never done in 12 years of teaching. Full story is linked below or on my channel.